Hi everybody, this is Story Behind the Story and I'm your host Keegan Cooper. This week we're going to talk to Justin Quick about Bearcat Football, Angel Trent about What We Were Wearing exhibit, and we'll talk to Matthew Berry about drunk driving. And joining us first, we have Matthew here. How you doing, Matthew?
Good, how are you?
You know, I'm doing good. It's almost Friday. We've got Bearcat Football coming up, a lot going on campus, so it's good. Well, let's go ahead. Let's talk a little about drunk driving. So this is a problem we see kind of everywhere. And why do you think that is? Why is drunk driving such a problem?
I think it's an issue where people don't realize how intoxicated or how impaired they are before they get behind the wheel. One of the things when I talked to Sheriff Strong is that there was an instance in Nottaway County where someone was trying to get a ride home but couldn't, but then he thought it was okay and ended up getting arrested for drunk driving, among other things. And I think that's an issue where people don't realize they're too intoxicated before it's too late.
And what are some of the risks? I mean, not only are you affecting yourself, but you're affecting others. What are some of the risks with drunk driving?
Sure. So, I mean, not only are you sort of affecting yourself, but you're affecting your family. In terms of your own effects, there's a lot of penalties behind it. There's not only legal fees, but there's also a lot of court fees and attorney fees. And it also affects other people. Unfortunately, we had someone that died because they got hit by a drunk driver in Austin Cross. We had someone earlier in January, and Morgan McCoy, who was also killed by a drunk driver, unfortunately. So it affects everyone, and there's a lot of people who lose their lives too early because of this.
Can you tell me a little about Austin Cross's story and what happened there and kind of what happened with that incident?
Sure. So Austin Cross was traveling with his friend around the St. Joseph area late at night, and there was allegedly a drunk driver. Missouri Highway Patrol arrested Roger Moe. And Moe was allegedly fleeing from MHP after being stopped originally, and collided with the driver, who was not Austin Cross, his vehicle. And as a result, Cross was taken by helicopter to the University of Kansas Hospital, and unfortunately died because of his injuries.
And I know you had the chance to kind of talk to people, his family, some of his friends. What did they kind of have to say about this and what happened and about drunk driving?
His boyfriend, Justin Ward, had a great story about how he was able to always make people laugh. They all had said, another thing they said they were thankful for is that Cross was an organ donor, which really sort of helped. It was sort of a silver lining in the fact that even though Cross was passing on, part of him was staying on Earth, and even though he died, he was saving other people's lives through organ donation, which just said was kind of a silver lining.
Kind of across, kind of everywhere, especially in the city of Maryville, different bars are starting to implement what we see to be called the Blue Cup Initiative. Can you kind of tell us a little about that and kind of what that entails?
Essentially, the Blue Cup is for designated drivers, people who aren't going to drink that night, and they get a Blue Cup from the bar, and they can pretty much get any non-alcoholic beverage they want, soda or water or anything else, as long as it doesn't have alcohol, and drink all night, which is sort of an incentive for designated drivers.
People to, be able to find a designated driver and get a safe, ride home and be safe about it and not,
right.
Be driving while intoxicated and be under the influence. Drunk driving is one of those issues that can't be taken lightly. Not only when you choose to drink and drive do you affect yourself, but you affect other people around you, their families, their friends, and it's not an issue that you can take lightly. It's something serious. But I want to take the time to thank you for coming in, Matthew,
sure, no
and
problem.
talking to me today about this. It's an issue that got to have this conversation and have these programs implemented to keep people safe and to keep people there. But thank you for joining me. We'll be right back with some more Story Behind the Story after we take a short break. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Keegan Cooper, and this is Story Behind the Story. Joining us next is Justin Quick. We're going to talk about some Bearcat football. How you doing, Justin?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing good. It's almost Friday. We've got, football coming up on Saturday. I'm excited.
Yep.
So taking a look back, last weekend, Northwest played Northeastern State. Kind of tell us, how did that end up going? I mean, I know we got the win. Kind of talk a little bit about that.
They pulled most of the starters by halftime, and Coach Wright really talked about how getting that experience for those guys who may not be starting for the rest of the year or may not play the rest of the year is big moving forward. And also, they were able to go out, get a huge lead, and be able to rest those starters for the second half with the game against Fort Hays coming up.
Fort Hays coming up, and kind of looking forward to that. What can we expect to see? Is that going to be a dog-eat-dog matchup?
They've been kind of a different team when they go on the road. They, haven't put up a whole lot of points on the road as opposed to home where they've kind of dominated. Their two losses have come to Emporia State and Missouri Western, both teams that Northwest has kind of dominated this year. Emporia was 41-0 and Western was like 28-6, something like that. So it could be one of those where we'd like to see Northwest go out and kind of dominate, give that impressive performance with a couple games left, maybe move up in the regional rankings. Right now they're sitting at a 4 in the region.
What did Coach Wright have to say about the game coming up? What does he expect to see from his guys, but not only, from Fort Hays on the other side?
He gave kind of an interesting synopsis of the game in that they're embracing an underdog role. Fort Hays is right now, they're under Northwest in the MIAA standings, but they are the reigning MIAA champions. So they're really embracing that role of kind of go in and regain that championship back that they lost last year. And it's something that him and both Braden Wright, who was at the press conference Tuesday, were talking about, is they want to get that championship back for those seniors that are going to be departing, those 19 seniors. They lost it last year. It's the first year that senior class had not won the championship, so it's something that they really want to push forward and get back. I think they're still focused on themselves, focused on what they need to do to improve, to play their best game of the season. He still feels like even after the Northeastern game, they still haven't played their best game of the season yet. So it's something that they're going to come out and look to do against a good Fort Hays team.
And with those 19 seniors going to be leaving us after this year, we've got the new guys coming in. Are they going to be able to fill those shoes? Did Coach Wright feel confident with those guys coming in? I mean, I know they've gotten to play a little bit more with some of those other games, so does he feel confident with them? And do they feel confident that, they're going to be, on the line, they're going to be playing next year? What does that look like for us?
I think it is something that he feels confident with. They've got a nice young core group of players, obviously with Braden being a redshirt freshman. Even with guys, you got like LaTroy Harper, who's a true freshman at wide receiver position. You got Alec Tatum, who is second on the team right now in reception and yards, and he's a sophomore. So you've got to get a nice core group of young players that you can build around for the next few years. And I think the graduating class, as dominant as they have been and as much as they've built this program, helped build this program even further than the past years, I think it's something that Coach Wright kind of talked about. He is a little bit more connected with this senior class than he was last year, simply because he dove more into the offensive side this year than rather just the defensive side.
Are we looking ahead to playoffs, or are we just concentrating, on Saturday and then moving to the next game? Or are we starting to kind of look ahead into playoffs and see what that entails for us?
They're focused on this week and this week only. That he's kind of built that mindset of every week is another week, another step they need to take to get to where they want to be at the end of the year. So this is one of the big steps in getting back that share of the MIAA title game and having a shot to clinch it outright the following week. But I think it is something that they're looking at a week-by-week basis and not preparing for the playoffs, because they know they got to take care of business these last 2 weeks in order to get into the playoffs.
Well, I look forward to seeing him play on Saturday, Fort Hays. It's going to be a good matchup. I want to thank you for coming and taking the time to talk to me today, Justin. Always excited to hear about Bearcat football and the updates, get the inside scoop. We'll take a short break with Story Behind the Story, and we'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Keegan Cooper and this is Story Behind the Story. Joining us next, we have Angel. How you doing, Angel?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's almost Friday. I'm excited. We've got that colder weather coming in. It's weather, but it's doing nice, so I'm doing good. But you're here today to talk to us about what we were wearing, that exhibit. So can you just tell us what was it and what did it kind of display?
The What We Were Wearing exhibit is actually still going on. It's still in the administration building on the first floor. It's an exhibit that shares stories of survivors of sexual assault, and next to their stories are posted outfits that match their description. It's not the actual clothes that they were wearing, because some of them actually destroyed that clothing, but all the organizations involved went and found clothing that fit their description and just posted it with their stories.
How does this kind of affect students as a whole, as a student body, kind of knowing this, and how does it kind of make them feel? What is their outlook on it?
Well, for the students, everybody's encouraged to see it just because this is a real problem, and for other survivors who didn't share their story, but some people haven't told anyone. Some of the stories in the exhibit are I've never told anyone, and it's all anonymous, so they've still not told anyone, but it's still out there. But the goal really is to have students who maybe have never told anyone and have had this happen to see this exhibit and be like, oh, well, I'm not the only one, and I shouldn't be ashamed of it.
And why did they kind of choose to put this in the administration building? What was the process, kind of picking the location to display this exhibit?
They chose the administration building because it's like the main building on campus. Everybody, or a lot of people, go through the administration building, especially with like registration happening during these 3 weeks. It's going to stay up until the 9th of November, and then there's an event called Take Back the Night, which is also related to sexual violence and sexual assault.
What do you think the main message here that we have today, not just with this, but with the other events that we put on, just to educate people about this is, something that we have to have this conversation about because it does happen. Are there any preventative measures that you can take in a time to kind of prevent this?
One of the people that organized it was Green Dot Training, which is the bystander training, kind of like to not be a bystander when you see something, an assault like taking place, like how to safely intervene and keep everyone safe, because this is a real problem. And a lot of the stories that were on the exhibit, like you read them and like no, there were other people around, just no one stopped it. And so Northwest really wants to just push, give the skills to like intervene and stop.
Give students the skills to have the capabilities of preventing this, in this situation, being able to stand up and stop it and say, no, that's not right. You need to stop it, most definitely. Well, Angel, I want to thank you for coming in and talking to me today about this exhibit. I encourage students to go take a look at it, read those stories, connect with it. Sexual assault is a serious topic. Participate in Green Dot training and become educated and be able to step up and kind of intervene in a situation, make it not happen. But I want to, again, thank you, Angel, and thank all of our guests, Justin Quick, Matthew, for coming to talk to us, and you, Angel, about everything that we heard today. This is Story Behind the Story, and you can catch us live on Facebook and KZLX at noon on Thursdays during Student Media Day, or Monday through Thursday at 6:30 p.m. live on KNWT Channel 8. We'll see you next week.